Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the art podcast series here on YouTube. And we'll be doing a different kind of thing today. Instead of painting, it's been a while since I've drawn something. I tend to focus more on, using more brushier brushes. So I think I've been missing out on the. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my tablet here, but yeah, I think I have been missing out on the draftsmanship side of art, where you just draw stuff. You can't see it, but I'm adjusting my setup here. I should have done this before recording, but it is what it is. So I'll try just sketching a bunch of things. By the way, the size of my canvas is 4320. Shit. Okay. By 2430. I'm not sure why I said it that way, but it kind of just stuck to me. Anyway. So yeah, I was watching this. I'm not sure what the topic of this video ought to be, but we have to make sure that this is a podcast. And I want to focus on something specific. Now, am I sure what that thing is? Not really, but I was watching this gaming channel. It's basically a film type of channel or a video essay, and it's very specific towards games. So that was very interesting for me. And basically, it was talking about this game called Forever Winter. It's this almost like mecha war apocalyptic kind of a shooter game to scavenger. You're basically a scavenger in that game. And I will link that video in the description below. And it's actually like one of the artists I reviewed, Rael Lyra, is actually one of the designers for that game. I mean, there's plenty more, but yeah, apparently it's a mix. It's an indie game. It's not a big studio who did it, but yeah, I was like the vibe of that whole thing was it's basically a passion project of sorts. And these artists apparently they had a lot of creative freedom that they wouldn't normally have when working on more established or bigger studios rather. And I'm not sure what I'm drawing here, but again, this is more of a doodle thing. But yeah, so and I think the issue they had is the more you try to appeal to lots of people, the less there's soul in the work. I think that's my takeaway. And it sort of becomes dry. The more something is for like mass consumption, something gets lost in that whole process. And let me just hit erase here. I don't have a shortcut for my pen, but fuck it. Let me just hide this guy. There you go. Ooh. Let me just minimize this maybe. There you go. There you go. There you go. I do need a bigger screen, so if any of these tablet companies want to send me a tablet, a screen tablet, I'd appreciate it. Anyway. So yeah, I think one of the takeaways from that show is, or from the essay is, the less risks you take, or the aversion to risks, is what robs you of the soul of your game. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but yeah, I think it happens when you're trying to make lots of people happy. Something does get lost in the process. And it's a sacrifice you have to make. So I think the takeaway is also to essentially be okay, even if you're whatever you're creating is not as popular. If it's you, if you can just focus on having that creative freedom and just go for your ideas and not be held down. Just expect that you're not going to get as much attention. But the gain is you get to, I guess, be who you are and just say what you want to say. And that freedom, I guess, is worth not having the best stuff. So yeah, I think that's something that maybe that's a topic of this video, of this podcast. But also, I think that video has inspired me because it's very, you can see the passion and even the way this YouTuber, this video essayist describes it. Like, you can really feel the passion in the work. And I guess that sort of sparked something in me. And maybe that's also the reason why I felt like drawing today. It's because of, Rael Lyra was mentioned there, and he's more of a draftsman than, say, a painter. I mean, I'm sure he can paint, but most of his designs are done via drawing. Now, obviously, you can tell I'm not very experienced. Like, I don't really have a good visual library, and obviously, you can see me suffering here, but I think it's the thought that counts. And I'm very fascinated by the visual language of those artists, especially when it comes to this game, this kind of post-apocalyptic. I think even the work of, who's that guy? I did an art review also of his work recently. He's a painter as well. He does a lot of like robots and chicks. But there's a certain aesthetic where it's all, and they also said that that game was inspired by anime too, like old mecha anime. And I just thought, you know what, that's kind of cool. By the way, when I'm drawing like this, even if I'm not experienced, or I don't really know what kind of details to put in, and maybe that's sort of a weakness that I have, and it is a weakness in a way. It doesn't mean you can't create. Just focus, I guess, on, or what works for me anyway, is work on the gestures. Even if your shape design isn't as good, just focus on the flow of things, and maybe you can start there, because you can always like draw over this thing eventually, right? And even if it's kind of messy and you have no idea what it is, it can still work. Just make sure that there's some kind of flow, right? So this guy doesn't have a leg. I'm not sure what this is, but anyway. I want to make sure that the other arm is kind of going back. Or I want to indicate that it's not like it's a different arm. So I want to make sure that there's a shadow of sorts. Right? I try to avoid erasing, but sometimes you do need it. Maybe I should have thought about what exactly I should talk about. I mean, I did have that whole video in mind, that essay, that video game essay, but because in the last video I did talk about how I think my takeaway was, maybe I can't really, it's hard for me to decide what to draw or what to paint, what to illustrate. And I think I mentioned how you should just try changing the question. Maybe that can help you. Maybe it's not so much about the like what you should do, but are you or what you should draw, what you should illustrate, but it's more about, are you actually in the process of creating? Are you being an artist? Right? It's okay to be confused and lost, but at least you're doing the thing. And I think that's what's missing in my work. I'm just not doing enough. Like I'm constantly thinking of like what kind of concept art or what kind of art should I do? Should I do fan art, concept art, anime? Like I keep asking questions without doing anything. Ooh. And it's very frustrating. And maybe you do feel this way, this kind of indecisiveness. So I think I talked about how it doesn't matter what I draw, but oh shit, I'm forgetting. Oh shit. I think I talked about how I think I should focus on just creating videos. Now that's something that I think can help me, because it's also something that's missing in my body of work. It's just art videos. So instead of if I can't really decide, if I don't know what to do, it's okay. Skip that part, skip the question. Maybe over time you can find an answer, but right now you do need to figure out something. And for me, it was just posting videos, kind of like this one. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, or if it's kind of whatever. It just has to be out there. I can always adjust as I go. And I do say that often to myself, but in practice, sometimes I just forget. And obviously that sucks, but so this is actually a skull. Oh shit, concept art. Check out the work of Rael Lyra, obviously, Milan Nikolic, like these guys. They just have such cool designs, And apparently the game is kind of dark. So, very dark themes. It's not necessarily pro-war. It shows you like what happens if automation takes over and we're just a bunch of like, what happens if you start worshipping basically this kind of system, right? I think when you're concepting, it's not so much maybe thinking what's right and what's wrong. Maybe that's the wrong mentality to have. I think it's about following your feelings. And I know that's very counterintuitive to design, but maybe you have to do it phase by phase. In the beginning, you have to be more feeling oriented, where you're just following what feels good, what looks right. And once you have that, then you can always change things, right? For example, right now I'm just putting in a bunch of random strokes. And again, I'm someone who doesn't really know like how I should approach this kind of thing. Because I don't do it. And that's something that's kind of missing in my artwork. Even though I know I'm not detailed and I'm kind of okay with that, I still want to add something, some bits of useful information in my work. And I think I'm just not doing enough of it. Like I feel like I can do more and add more, So essentially my visual library is just not where I want it to be. Right? So, and of course I have this aversion. Sorry, I have this aversion to. It's not so much I don't like it, but I'm just lazy, looking for references. And people always say like that's the thing that's going to set you or really improve your artwork, but I still don't do it. I'm so stubborn that way, but that shade here. This is actually kind of fun. Drawing. It's been a while since I've done this. It's all just impressionistic paintings here and there. I mean, even the shading part that I'm doing right now, it feels good. It reminds me of my old college days in architecture school. I tend to do this a lot in my sketchbooks. Just sketching away random shit, figure drawing as well. So this is maybe some kind of padding, right? A cushion of sorts. Oh shit, concept art. Oh. I'm not sure, is this a dick or something of that sort? I'm not even sure what this is, but sometimes if I don't know what to do, I'll just start shading things. Not very design oriented or logical, but and I've also been struggling with this because I was thinking, like, there are types of art that I enjoy doing, but enjoying something doesn't mean you like doing it, or it doesn't mean it's for you. And that's a struggle for me, because in order for you to find out if you actually like doing it, you have to do it. But the problem is, if you have so many things you like, you're basically going to have to try all sorts of different things, right? So, and to me, maybe that's an issue or a struggle for me, because perhaps it's a way, like, maybe I know I have to make mistakes, and that's what's scaring me. Like, am I going to be wasting time by trying all of these things? What if I find out I don't like doing that thing? You know what I mean? Like, those kinds of thoughts. It just leads to more, I guess, analysis paralysis. Basically, this thing right here, I'm trying to expand on this. Or base it off of that thing. I mean, that's a thick fucking neck. Ooh. Excusez-moi. Right? I think it would really help if I just had reference on the side. Maybe I should do that for these sorts of videos. Have like a reference in the corner, or maybe I'll use pure ref. But the point is, like... So maybe the takeaway of this video is... It's sort of similar to the last podcast I did. Is maybe don't think too much. Am I helping anyone by saying this? Maybe not, but yeah, I think that's the thing here, is to just because I do know that video really did something to me. Seeing that project kind of manifest itself, and seeing how, like, work can be enjoyable, like, you don't have to, I mean, yeah, sometimes you have to sacrifice something, but you don't have to for certain projects. The only downside is maybe you won't get as much wanted attention, right? You may not get as many likes or views, or maybe sales if you're trying to sell something, right? But then again, like, okay, and what am I doing here? But that's okay. Not sure why, but so here we have the socket, the eye sockets. I'm not sure if it's an actual skull, but fuck it. Damn. it's not really making sense, but yeah. Shit, this video is kind of all over the place, so I'm not sure how I should I do like this one more. So this whole episode can be somewhat salvageable. But yeah. But I still think about like, oh shit, like what exactly should I be doing? Like what's my style? What kind of, because style is not just about, it's about your penmanship, your draftsmanship, like the strokes you make, the brushes you use, the process you do or practice, but it's also like the subject matter, right? Like, is it do you do mechs? Do you do character designs, props? Do you do environments? Do you do keyframe art? Like, there's so many shit that you could do, but I was supposed to expand on the design here, but I think I made it worse. Christ. Anyway, maybe flipping the screen will help. Oh, let's add something here. Maybe a leg design, because I feel like I'm ignoring the legs. Here's the issue: I can't really draw the legs. Shit. So I'm going to draw it. And you know what? When you do these types of sessions, you sort of you do see what you're missing, right? Or you see what your weaknesses are. So it's not exactly a totally bad thing to suck. Like, knowing you suck or figuring out you're bad at something is the first step to improvement, right? Because you can't improve if you don't know what to improve on. Ooh, genius. Maybe you can save time by, I don't know, using a bigger brush to figure out the silhouettes, but I think there is an advantage to using the pen here. And I also want to learn how to draw folds as well, because you know, character design involves clothing, and you can't really ignore this huge thing, you know, attire and stuff like that. So that's my feet. Oh my god, it's so oh my god. Oh shit, fashion model much? We'll make the hands long just to, I don't know. Shit, I'm forgetting what the lesson for this session is, because I want to be helpful, you know. It's not just for you, by the way. I also want to like figure out something for myself here. I guess follow your passion, but then again, like, how will you know what you're passionate about? Because especially if you're the type of person who's so easily inspired by so many different things, like, Christ, these types of questions honestly drive me mad sometimes. Yeah. So what can I do? Like, I need to ask a certain question to move me forward, because I want to make progress. But what? In what? What am I trying to do here? I mean, I figured out that doing art videos, spending time on my sketchbook, recording, the thing is helping me. First of all, stay consistent, and since I'm on YouTube, it does get me views. So it's helping me build the brand as well. So I don't always have to do like my art reviews. I can just finally just do art. And I'm also proving that I am in the game. I'm not just someone who talks about, you know, even if I suck, it's okay, because being someone who practices the craft is better than just, you know, running your mouth all day. Ooh, shit. Right? Because I don't want to be the guy who just talks, Even if I make mistakes, that's way better because I did something. I am moving forward, I think. So yeah, maybe to improve, I'll need to have some references. So maybe in the next session, you'll see me have like a reference, something on the side. Or maybe I'll use pure ref. Whatever. Whatever's useful. Sorry. And maybe from there I can just what am I doing here? No idea, but and it's not a bad thing because I am just starting to get back into drawing, so draftsmanship, it may need some work, but it's not totally bad. And I'm realizing something. I do like to do like head designs or like mecha, like these types of things. I mean, yeah, I was inspired by that video as well, but I've talked about this before. I do like creatures and mechs, so maybe that's where I can shine. And I do find that I do naturally kind of just do them. Even like Evangelion heads, I just have a thing for them. So, but then again, do I like iterating? Do I like designing? Who knows? I think I should just follow the path of drawing what you like or what comes naturally and improving on that thing. So if I tend to do these sorts of things anyway, I just need to brush up on my references and solidify my designs even more. I'm not sure what this thing in the background is, but we'll do this. Spacesuits. I tend to like spacesuits. Like I like blackening certain things. Kind of like this one. And so maybe I can just start there and follow that curiosity of mine, because I've heard about that. Like you want to follow your curiosities because it's going to be way more sustainable that way, because it's something you're naturally curious about anyway. So just deciding to spend more time exploring your curiosities is going to lead to better outcomes, because sustainability is going to be there. You'll enjoy it. And maybe enjoy is not a word. It's not the word I'm trying to go for, but it's just something that's interesting to you. So you're more likely to want to spend time doing it. Even if you're not enjoying it all the way, because you don't always feel like, like creating, drawing, stuff like that. But if it's interesting, like you feel like you need to find the answer to that something, or you feel like you need to find a solution, answer some kind of problem. And it reminds me of the advice of picking problems you want to solve, and that's a great way to kind of find your passion. I'm not even sure what this is, but it happens. Sometimes you do something and it doesn't really go anywhere, but nah. What else can I do? So we've been drawing, talking random stuff for like almost 30 minutes. So far, this is still the guide that I like the most. But let's try to fill up a page here. And that's also a goal of mine. I used to have this goal where I should sketch like or fill up a page at least. So I think I'm doing a good job here. This one feels like cap because it's hardly anything, but this whole thing right here, we'll try drawing, say, I don't know. The thing with pens or pencils is that you can't fill up large areas quickly. So you can't really, you have to focus more on, since you're focused more on contours, you have to be a bit more, I mean, you can tackle large areas, but it's more of like a big line. So trying to emphasize form with lines does take time. So what maybe you should shift more onto shapes maybe. This one looks like a butt or something. Right? Because it is hard to indicate form this way. What am I doing here? But then again, I'm doodling, so it doesn't really matter, right? So yeah, next time I guess my takeaway here is to be inspired and to just go for your, like, do what you want to do, or but that always like annoys me because what if I don't know what to do? It's kind of like, I'm sure you've heard of advice saying, oh, do what you love, do what's fun, but sometimes you if you're the type of person who overthinks, like, Jesus, like, you're just making me mad with those kinds of answers. I feel psychotic when I think this way, but it's a problem that I face anyway, so I have to find a way to deal with it. What am I doing here? And yeah. So this is more of like a butt. That's what it looks like to me. Christ. And I'm not saying anything. My mind is kind of going blank because I'm sort of thinking like, what should I draw? And I think the pen forces you to be a bit more deliberate. Like, it's hard to just make random shapes up when drawing with the pen. But when I'm painting, it feels easier. I guess it's because I can feel large areas fast. But that's kind of cap, or that's cope. I don't think that's a good enough excuse for me to say, oh, I can't really design as well, or I can't be as imaginative because of my pen. Like, you can sort of figure something out this way. See? Now, I'm not sure what this is, but it's, at least I'm doing something. Christ, what am I doing? It looks like an insect. So yeah, maybe I should just get comfortable with drawing. And what's the takeaway of this episode? I keep I keep wondering, like, what's the takeaway here? Just draw. Oh god, I hate that advice. I'm sure you've heard it so many times, but like, what else are you gonna do? Because if I start thinking, I'll eventually go into this analysis paralysis mode where I just start imagining and questioning, like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Like, am I even making progress? And I start going mad to the point where I don't even draw, or paint. So maybe that's the takeaway. It's just to spend time in your sketchbook, kind of like what I'm doing now, or in your canvas, wherever you do your art, and just make sure you fill the page with anything. If you're really that like mad, like you don't even know what to do anymore, and you're just kind of, oh shit, like what's the point of life? Just fill up your sketchbook with anything, even if it's like ugly, even if it's like this, like disgustingly like nothing. Even if it's messy, like pretty much all of this thing over here. Just fill up your sketchbook. And because it's kind of like because the language, the visual language of the game that, you know, I mentioned, Forever Winter, again, I'll link that video in the description below. I was so fascinated by like the shape design and everything, like the vibe, the look, the mood of it all. And it is its own language. And when it comes to languages, if you want to learn a language, you have to be able to like speak it. Even the way I talk, it's based on how many times I've spoken. It's the accumulation of all of the things I've said, the topics that I like talking about, the way I talk to myself in my own head, or the way I write notes. So I think you can find your voice, you can find your visual look, or your style in this case, by just, let me just write it here, by just talking with apostrophes there, to yourself. But talking in this case it's not via, you know, words, it's via your penmanship, your draftsmanship, your painting skills, your rendering skills, your sculpting skills, your 3D modeling skills. The more you can make this kind of habit, or this kind of approach, sort of inherent, where you use it as a way to express yourself, to express, to think, I think the more you're more likely to develop your own language and get comfortable speaking, right? Speaking in this case obviously is, you know, doing art. So maybe that's the takeaway from this episode as well. It's just to draw everything. Even if you're struggling, draw. Even if you're having fun, in a good mood, in a bad mood, if you're trying to figure something out, be in your sketchbook and make those marks. Even if it doesn't make sense, you'll figure something out. You'll gain something, I think. How unreliable. But right? And at bare minimum, you get comfortable just being in there and making mistakes. Right? It's kind of like talking too. Like sometimes I stutter, sometimes I don't know what to say, or sometimes I use the wrong word, sometimes I mispronounce words. It happens. You're going to experience these things when you open your mouth. So imagine being afraid to talk just because you might say something kind of retarded. I mean, if that's the case, you'll never talk, you know? And this could apply in so many things in life, but in this case, we're artists here, and like we can't just spend time running away, you know? Be like those guys in Fun Dog. I think that's the name of the company. Chase that creative freedom. You know, some artists are dying to be able to express themselves, right? Because of work, because of, you know, we have to make the sales and stuff like that. Like they can't speak their own language. They can't follow their own forms, their own passions. They can't really do the types of designs they like, or they can't follow the concepts they enjoy. And artists are, especially in the indie space, in the indie games or independent spaces, they're dying to be able to express themselves, right? So do that too. You don't repeat their mistakes, you know, by getting stuck in like what makes what gets the most money and stuff like that. Like it's very like you're focusing on the wrong thing, and it robs you of your artistry, basically your craftsmanship, and your soul basically suffers. So if you want to get back to that passionate side of things, chase freedom. And freedom comes with making mistakes, right? And I think he also mentioned that the video essayist, he mentioned it in the, because he did like a trial for the game, like he played the game in there. Like they wanted him to consult. He was hired. Was he hired, or he basically he was taken on shit? He was taken in as a consultant for the game, so he did try the game, right? And he noticed like the concept art was there, but the game was still kind of buggy and stuff like that. But he could see the idea, like the main kind of concept, manifesting, right? But it wasn't perfect. It still needed some work. And I think that's what happens when you're being a bit more creative. When you're leaning more on expressing yourself more than usual. Is it's not going to be as polished, and it may be imperfect, inefficient sometimes, but it's you know. And you can always improve on it as you go. So it's not like you're stuck there forever, right? What is this? No idea. So hopefully you've learned something from this. Hopefully I've learned something from this session. I think I just need to continue this whole process. If I can't decide on what to do, I can solve something else. In my last episode, I talked about how I should focus more on just doing art videos. Me creating art, even if it comes out weird or or kind of disgusting. I should prove to myself that I'm an artist. And I think eventually, as I keep doing this, I'll figure something out, right? So that's kind of the lesson from last episode. But today, I think it's more about, creative freedom. Inspired by that game, by that video. To just be in your sketchbook and make those mistakes, make those marks. Whether you win or lose, whether your work gets somewhere, whether it's just, or whether it ends up kind of in the trash and nowhere. The point is you're being free, and I think that's what's needed in this time of constantly, as much as I'm glad that I got monetized and all, because it's another stream of income, right? Like sometimes it is kind of sad. Like we always have to think about making money or more money, right? But it's the way things are, these are dangerous, trying times, and we can't run away from it as much. But to balance that, I think we need to find ways to still keep in touch with our soul, with our artistic soul. And I think that's where we can do that through being and pursuing creative freedom. And yeah. So hopefully you're inspired to chase that in whatever way you like or know how. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.